Peter Parker sat alone in the cold, dimly lit apartment, the city sounds echoing faintly from the streets below. The world outside was oblivious to the storm raging within him. The walls around him seemed to close in, as if the very air had turned, suffocating. A lifetime of loss and struggle had led to this moment, but this felt different. This was a pain that dug deeper than any before. Mary Jane was gone, her laughter, her warmth, her fiery spirit, all erased in an instant. And it wasn't some tragic accident, not some random act of fate. It was murder. The figure in the shadows, the assassin, had taken her from him as easily as a child crushing a spider beneath their heel. There was no justice, no reason, just death. And Peter? Peter was too late. I failed her, he thought, staring at the empty space where her shoes used to be. I couldn't save her. His fingers tightened into fists, and his heart burned with a mixture of grief and rage. He had been Spider-Man for years, but none of his powers had been able to protect the one person who mattered most. For the first time, Peter truly felt powerless. The silence of the apartment was broken by a sound, an engine revving in the distance. A motorcycle. The sound grew louder, growing closer until it was outside his window. Without thinking, Peter stood up, his legs unsteady, the weight of his sorrow anchoring him to the floor. The motorcycle roared, and then, as if summoned by his grief, it came to a stop outside his building. A figure dismounted, and Peter's spider sense flickered to life. A sharp, electric tingle down his spine. But this wasn't just any threat. This wasn't an ordinary enemy. The man who approached him had a look that could only be described as hellish. His face, hidden beneath a flaming skull, was a symbol of vengeance itself. The air around him crackled with heat, and the motorcycle he had ridden on was nothing short of demonic. Peter's heart raced. "You're not alone, kid," the man said, his voice a rough growl, as if it had been torn from the depths of the earth itself. "Not anymore." Peter didn't know whether to fight, run, or scream in confusion. He had never seen this man before, but there was something eerily familiar about the fire that blazed around him. You're the Ghost Rider," Peter muttered, struggling to keep his emotions in check. Johnny Blaze, the original Ghost Rider, nodded grimly. "I'm the one who's going to help you, Peter." Peter's heart skipped a beat. "Help me? I don't need your help. I need her back." The words burned like acid on his tongue, but he couldn't hold them back. His chest tightened with grief. The ache, the weight, the hopelessness, it was overwhelming. "You're about to need a lot more than help, Parker," Blaze said, his eyes glowing with an infernal light. "That rage, that pain, the grief you're feeling, it's going to tear you apart if you don't learn to control it." Peter blinked. "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" Blaze removed his helmet, revealing his face, weathered, scarred, but with a look of resignation that spoke volumes. "You're the next one, kid. You were always meant to be the Ghost Rider." Peter staggered back. "What? No, I'm not. Some killer. I'm Spider-Man. I help people. I can't." Blaze's eyes burned into him. "That's what you think. But the spirit of vengeance has always been part of you, Peter. It's in your blood, in your bones. And now it's going to awaken." Peter didn't know what to believe. Ghost Rider, vengeance? It sounded insane, like a fever dream. But as Blaze spoke, Peter felt something stir deep inside him, something dark, something powerful. His body seemed to hum with energy, with an unnatural force. "I don't want this," Peter whispered, clutching his chest. "I don't want to be some demon. I just want her back." Blaze placed a hand on Peter's shoulder, his grip like iron. "That's the thing about the spirit of vengeance, kid. It doesn't care what you want. It cares about what you need. He paused. "But don't think for a second that you can use this power without a price." Before Peter could respond, a surge of heat coursed through his veins. His skin burned with fire, his fingers clenched in instinct. A flaming skull, burning bright like the sun itself, formed on his face. The world seemed to darken as hellfire poured from his body, surrounding him in an infernal aura. Peter screamed as the pain intensified, but beneath it, something stirred. A primal need for retribution. Blaze stepped back, watching silently. "That's it. That's the fire. The rider's power will show you the way. But be careful. Every time you use it, you lose a piece of yourself. The more souls you send to hell, the closer you get to becoming one of them." Peter didn't have time to process the warning. He was already sprinting down the stairs, his body moving on autopilot. He was the Ghost Rider now. And there was only one thing on his mind: vengeance. The city sprawled beneath him, unaware of the hell that was about to descend upon it. His eyes scanned the shadows, seeking out the one who had stolen everything from him. The killer was still out there, alive and free. And Peter was going to make them pay. He felt the motorcycle's engine roar beneath him, felt the demonic power that surged through his legs as he mounted it. The flames surrounding him flared higher, casting long shadows on the street. The hunt began. The first target was easy. The man was a petty criminal, a thug who had long since sold his soul to the highest bidder. Peter's hellfire-infused webs wrapped around him like chains, dragging him toward Peter with inescapable force. The thug screamed as Peter's skull burned into view, his eyes glowing with an unholy light. Peter didn't hesitate. He reached out and touched the man's forehead, feeling the fiery burn of vengeance. His soul was condemned. The spirit of vengeance did the rest, dragging the criminal to hell with a violent scream. But the moment the man vanished, Peter felt it. The sharp, gnawing emptiness inside him. A hunger for more. His hand shook as he pulled it away from the spot where the man had stood. "Is this what it feels like?" he thought, his stomach turning. "Is this how it always ends?" But there was no time to think. There was only more blood to spill, more people to punish, more souls to send to hell. Days turned into weeks, and Peter's hunt for Mary Jane's killer became an obsession. The more he killed, the more he felt the demon inside him growing stronger, taking control. His mind, once clear, was now clouded by fire and rage. He had grown more powerful, but with each life he took, Peter saw less and less of himself. His reflection in the mirror was becoming foreign. The face staring back at him was both his and not his. The burning skull, the fiery eyes. They were becoming permanent. And then, one night, as Peter stood on a rooftop overlooking the city, he felt it, a presence familiar and terrifying, Peter. He turned, and there she was, Mary Jane, alive. Her eyes were dull, her expression lifeless. Her body was motionless, as if controlled by some unseen force. "No," Peter whispered. "No, this isn't real. You're dead." Mary Jane's voice was cold, distant. "You've already lost, Peter. You're no longer the man you once were. You're the Ghost Rider, and it's too late to turn back." Peter felt his heart stop. The guilt, the sorrow, the confusion, it all crashed down on him in waves. No, I can save you. I can—" But her voice interrupted him, sharper than before. "The more vengeance you seek, the further you fall. You can't save me, Peter, but you can still save yourself." Peter fell to his knees, the weight of his actions crashing down on him. He had become a monster, a true Ghost Rider. But it wasn't too late, was it? There had to be something he could do. The spirit of vengeance roared in his mind, urging him to take more lives, to continue the hunt. But Peter stood firm, clutching his chest as the flames receded. "I'm done," he whispered. tears streaming down his face. "I won't let this power destroy me." For the first time in what felt like forever, Peter felt his humanity return. The spirit of vengeance raged inside him, but Peter Parker was still there. He had lost everything. But maybe, just maybe, he could save what little was left, and for Mary Jane he would try.